Hello, everyone, and welcome to Cynthia's Joyful Creations. My name is Cynthia, and I am trying again. Oh, it's been a hot minute. Let me see if I can remember how to turn the camera around, and I think I got it. I do. Give me just a second. I figured this out in the night. Hello, everyone. And I have Mr. Joyful with me. He's going to be driving so I can read the chat. And I don't know if y'all can see back there. It's kind of dark. You turn that light on above your head.
I was saying you may lose sync up with part of the yard since you're using the house internet.
Hi.
And whoop, there's my son. He's getting ready to go to work. He's a security guard. All right. Who's ready for a joyride? Let me see who we've got here. Let me get out of settings.
Start backing up.
That's fine. You can go. I'm going to turn. There we go. All right. Hello. Let's see who we have with us. We've got Sandra with us. Hello, in bed. We have church in the morning. Well, hugs to you. She says, I will listen for a bit. Hello, Jen. Hello, Renee, Candy, Rudy, Thomas, Tank. She says, dozing. What did she do? So I probably lost the Wi-Fi from the house and had to pick up the Wi-Fi from the phone. All right. So now that we've said hello, I am going to go back in and hopefully will not lose you to switch the camera around. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. So you can see the road. All right, it's all coming back, all coming back. All right, there we go. There we go. Nice. One of these days we're going to do a joyride and it's going to be in the daytime. But I thought since we were having to take my son to work, why not do another one tonight? Nope, trying to find my eyeballs. All right. Had some fun tonight over at the Yarny Fiber Sisters. Enjoyed hanging out with them. Good evening, Thomas. Meet you. All right. So we just left our house and like I said, we're heading to take my son to work and just thought that we would just have a little chit chat and you guys can see a little bit more of Newberry, but it's again kind of hard right now because right where we're at coming out of the neighborhood, it's a little bit dark. It's a gas station right there, a Citgo. But what's the weather like where everyone's at? It's a little bit on the cold side for us. Some of you will be like, oh yeah, that's not cold. But it is currently almost midnight and it is 48 degrees outside. So I am actually wearing a on a long sleeve shirt. as Mr. Joyful is more into town, you'll have more lights that will kind of light up and you'll see more. Like I said, we're going to do this one day during the daytime so that you guys can really truly see more of Newberry versus just all the street lights and whatnot. But anyway, what was that?
I pushed the wrong button. I was going to try to dim the lights down, but the car's smarter than I am.
So we are in my car. Mr. Joyful and I went to a place called Simpsonville, Greenville, and Spartanburg today. So we went about an hour to an hour and a half away from home. We went and and some goodies. He did, obviously. And then we did go to a Miles, but he dropped me off at the front of the store. And by the time he parked and got in, I was kind of like, unless you want to look at something, I'm ready to go. And he's like, huh? And so we walked back out. The second time in, 3 or 4 days, yeah, I've walked out of a Michael's and didn't get anything. And then we also stopped at a Goodwill. And normally I go into Goodwills with him because I like Goodwills too. But I let him go in and I stayed out in the truck and worked on my crochet. I took the Lullaby Dreams blanket that I'm working on for a tutorial, and I was on that. And then we went to Walmart because I had to get some big bins to put all that yarn that I just bought in. And then we went to go get some food. And while he was in getting the food, my Marine son called. So I had an opportunity to speak to him for about an hour this afternoon. So it's been a really great day, but it's amazing how tiring shopping can actually be. So anyway, I hope you guys have all had a really great day. All right, let's see who else we got here with us. All right, hey Tina. She says, hi, Cynthia, going to relax and enjoy the live if I stay awake. And Renee says, riding along in my automobile. Oh, I love it. The song, riding along in my automobile. Hello, Margie. Candy says, it is freezing. I bet it's really cold where you are, Candy. Thomas says, it is 35 in Kansas. That is cold. Sonja says, we went to my oldest stepson's and played games, had pizza, and enjoyed our time together. Oh, I love family time like that. That was my favorite night of the week was Friday nights because the boys, obviously didn't have school the next day. And we would do the same thing. We would play board games and maybe watch a movie, always did pizza or something that they wanted to eat. And I loved it. So now Todd and I have games and movies with all of you on Friday nights. Maribel says, Yarny Fiver Sisters said, hello all. Love it. So glad you're here, Maribel. Renee says, it is 43 where she is. Good night, Tank. Hello, Mama J. She says, Yarny Fiver Sister Ray. Carla, welcome in. She says, hello, everyone. Thank you guys for hugging Tank out. Sonja says it's the upper 20s, heading for the teens here. Oh my gosh. So you're probably laughing at us at our 40-something degree weather saying it's cold. Hello, sweet Keith. How are you? Well, Thomas, we are so glad you're here. He says, joy to join you all this evening. Hello, sweet Sandrine. Hello, Vicky. Candy says 20 degrees here. At least I didn't have to walk. Very true. Vicky says here in Kansas City, Missouri, it's 26. Chill is 16. Oh my gosh. And Dream says it feels like 30. This one day, in April for everybody in the daytime so we can show you more of Newberry. So my son has some crazy hours. Now, last night he went to work at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and he got off at 8 o'clock this morning. So that's just crazy. And then tonight he goes in at midnight and you get off at 8 in the morning. So.
Not only that, but before I'd worked at 4 in the evening, I had to work a third shift. So I got off at 8 in the morning, and then I went back in at 4 the same day.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was like 2 weeks ago.
No, that's my regular schedule.
Oh, he's right. He's right. I forget that. So Friday morning.
Yeah.
Friday mornings he goes in at 8.
No, 12 in the morning.
Oh, that's right. Okay. So Friday morning he goes in at midnight. He gets off at 8 a.m. on Friday morning, goes back in at 4 o'clock on Friday afternoon, and doesn't get off until 8 a.m. on Saturday. I'm like, wow, youth. There was a time I could have done that. I mean, in college, I was an RA, so I had to work the desk so many hours as an RA. And of course, then I was a full-time student and an athlete. And during the off season, I worked at Carowinds, which is an amusement park, if anyone is familiar with that in South Carolina. Half of it's in South Carolina and half of it's in North Carolina. And so in the off season, of course, we still had training as an athlete, but I could have a job. And so I would work at Carowinds. And if I worked Monday through Friday, I would operate 2 rides. One of them was the bumper cars, and the other one back then was called a pirate ship. And so in case someone's not familiar, it's a big boat that literally goes upside down. So it makes complete circles several times. But then on Saturdays and Sundays, I dressed up as Hong Kong Phooey. So, and if you don't know who Hong Kong Phooey is, then I'm showing my age. Does anyone not know who Hong Kong Phooey is? You know who Hong Kong Phooey is? You have to go inside. It was hot in that outfit. And he's a male character, so of course, she always had kids, but I'd always have girls hugging on me all the time. It's like, oh. So I can't say anything because when I'd go to Disney World, I'd always have to hug and kiss Mickey and Minnie. So, of course, there was no COVID back then, so.
It was COVID back then.
There was COVID back then.
Yeah, it's been around for a while. But it's not this COVID.
I hope I didn't lose y'all. I have this crazy little commercial thing that keeps coming in on my phone, and it's done it. And I don't Todd. Son's work. I can't get the commercial out. We love you too, baby. Have a good night. Okay, I think I got us out of it. Okay, we still have everybody. Oh yeah, that's a really bright light. Sorry. But that's the little teeny tiny guard shack that he sits in at night. It's very tiny. There you go. My little claustrophobic self could not handle that little tiny guard shack. All right. So now to figure out where to go before we head home. So luckily he doesn't, as you can see, work too far from home. As soon as the back camera screen goes away. So it took us about, 15 minutes to get here. So that's not too bad.
Got a little bit slow.
And to the right is Samsung. I don't know. You can see those big bold letters, but we got a big old Samsung plant.
Most of this back here is new construction. A good bit of it's new.
Yeah,
Really
but
new.
back here is new construction. These are hotels that are in front of us. That's the Holiday Inn. And this is supposed to be a home two suite that they're building right there. It's kind of dark.
I think it took a hit from COVID.
It did take a hit from COVID. They just started renovations again. So it's been standing as a uncompleted structure for almost 3 years now. And this is a big 7-Eleven. You can't really see it. It is so dark. So how are we going to go home? Where are we going to take them?
I'm not sure. I have a clue idea, but it's so dark.
All right, let me see what everyone's saying.
Put on you and talk for a while when you sit at the window.
Do y'all want to see the road or do you want to see me? Hey, Tiffany, welcome in. I'm trying to go back up in the chat and find everybody. Oh, wow, I just learned something new. Again, this is like the second time I've been on my phone on StreamYard, so yay. Thank you guys for welcoming Tiffany in. Renee says, I don't. Who he is. You'll have to Google. Trying to figure out how old I am.
Dude, back with the Laugh Olympics and stuff like that.
Yeah, Laugh Olympics. I will be 54.
Yeah.
How old are you? You're going to be turning 53?
Yeah.
Okay. So Mr. Joyful turns 53 this year at the 1st of July, and then I turn 54 the middle of July. So there. Helped you with the math. Sonja says, I know that show and I love watching that. Oh gosh, Margie says, I remember who that is. Yep. Hong Kong Phooey. Tina says, I don't, but I'm older. Tina says, that would be terrible. I would fall asleep. That little tiny shack building. I know, right? Yeah. Hey, Connie. She says, hi, Cynthia. How's my favorite joyful friend doing? I'm doing great. I know I've got some more messages to respond to you from today, but I did finish watching your video. I did see who won my giveaway. I do not know them, so hopefully they will get back in touch with you and I can make a new friend. But I hope you've continued to have a really good birthday, Connie. Sonja says she watched that too. So are we going anywhere special on the way home?
Cut through a Walmart parking lot and then up the other back way. You sit across Walmart.
Okay.
Go down that street.
Well, some of them are familiar with Walmart because on the test ride, we went and sat in the Walmart parking lot for a good minute. So I could read the chat because I struggle to read the chat and drive. I don't know how Wanda does it. So she is definitely more gifted than I am. Well, Connie, how are you doing today? I am still working on the Stranger Things blanket, but I am pretty certain that it will air tomorrow. So again, I appreciate everyone who is working on that tutorial for your patience.
This is our new district office in Newberry, school district office.
Yeah, it's hard for them to see that. He was saying that that's to our right is the new district school office.
I'm
But
saying new, it's like what, 3 years old, 4 years old?
well, it used to all be the career center. So part of it's the career center now and part of it's the district office. And then of course we're coming up on the big football field and the high school, but again, it is so dark. It's hard to see. And we've got a brand new football stadium. They completely redid the oh gosh, I'm into sports and I can't even think of what the box is called.
Announcement box.
And there's Burger King.
Press box.
The press box, yes. They completely redid the press box and all the bleachers. So it is nice. That's the thing about Newberry. Everything is like a college campus, you know?
This disappoints me. Right over here, you can't see it's dark.
Yeah, you can't see it. It's dark. That was our Papa John's. It came and it didn't even last, I don't even think, but half a year.
Yeah.
So COVID kind of took it out. They could never really get anyone. We got this brand new car wash. So Newberry's moving up. But anyway.
So you went to this phone over here.
Yep, he's going to turn into Walmart and cut across the parking lot to take us a longer way home so we can chat a minute. So what's everybody working on?
Wendy's.
Oh, Connie, I'm so sorry. Hello, Sonic fan. She says, feeling frustrated, trying to relax. Oh. Thank you, Jen. She said press box. All of my coaches would be like, what? Cynthia. I'll be like, hey, the older you get, the mind goes. Theirs probably is already gone because they were all a lot older than me. Keith says, I only know by seeing reruns on Boomerang. Yes, it was on Boomerang. His day job was shoe shine bot boy, a dog, and his undercover job was Hong Kong Fooey. Yes, yes.
Here's some other names. Grape Ape.
Oh, yeah, Grape Ape.
Grape Ape. Grape Ape. And you got Captain Caveman.
Oh, my gosh. I had forgotten about Captain Caveman.
He's in one of the Scooby-Doo movies. They brought him.
Warming up.
I say warm.
Oh.
Trying to stay warm is one of your day jobs, I think, isn't it?
Ha, ha, ha. Mr. Joyful said staying warm, Candy, is one of my day jobs. I'm the one who can still wear sweatshirts in the summertime. Connie said some positivity. Oh.
Need some joy.
She does need a little bit of joy and a great big hug.
Joy, joy, joy.
Sonja says, I am still working on the granny stitch bag, headbands, and hats. That granny stitch bag is going to be beautiful.
Oh,
Keith says, oh, yeah, the real cartoons, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yes. Those were the best. And Bugs Bunny, that's my dad's favorite cartoon, was Bugs Bunny. Yeah.
This is it, the night of night, the hit of hits and the height of heights. No rehearsing and nursing the part, we know every part by heart.
Does it help y'all if I turn the screen that way? Does that make it better? Because I can kind of see what you see, but Tiffany says, Captain Caveman. Yes.
I used to love watching the Laughing Olympics.
Yes. Yes.
Even if it wasn't a cartoon, I used to love watching the Muppet Show. A little bit later, but yes.
Sandra says, "Who could forget KV, the Looney Tunes, Josie and the Pussycats?" Yes.
Yes.
Yes. You're welcome, Connie. I love you.
Josie and the Bobby. Yeah. I forgot.
Oh,
Now.
Candy, you're so sweet. She's giving Connie some chocolate. Oh, yes, Renee. Love the Flintstones and the Jetsons.
Oh, yes.
Here's George Jetson.
His boy, Roy. Daughter, Judy. They said actually, if you look at the cartoons, I think George Jetson was born last year.
What?
Yes. In the cartoon show, George Jetson was 43. It was like 2080 something. They did the math, and technically he was born in 2022. Either 2022 or 23. See, the last year of this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, Connie, the Chipmunks. Oh, yeah. Todd will like that one, Sandra. She says, my hubby reminded me of Top Cat.
All right, here's a quiz for you. What company did George Jetson work for?
What company did George Jetson work for?
And who was the competitor?
And who was the competitor? I don't remember.
Chat.
Yep, we'll see. Sandra says, Alvin! Connie says, I want to be bad like Alvin. Hey, Miss V. So Todd is asking us, V, what company did George Jetson work for and what was the competitor's name? I have no clue, even though I love George Jetson. Well, especially as a child.
As soon as I say it, you're going to recognize it. Be like you always do it.
Tina says, when I was a child, I thought we'd be flying around in the air as the Jetsons, right?
Yes.
And that food would literally come to us fixed and ready on a conveyor belt.
I used to love watching the original Lost in Space. Danger, Will Robinson. Danger.
Sandra says Sprocket.
Yeah, close. That's half of it. Spacely Sprockets.
Spacely Sprockets. That's right.
And their competitor was Cogswell Cogs.
Renee had gotten it right. She said, yes, Spacely Sprocket.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Right, Tina? She says, I need a Rosie for sure. Amen.
Yes. I was trying to think of her name, but Rosie, yes.
All right. So Keith said Space Sprockets and Cogswell Cogs.
Yes. Oh, Spacely. Space.
Yeah. Renee says, yes, Cogswell, Keith. Yep.
Of course, you know what Sprocket is, right?
No.
Like a gear.
Oh, yeah. I thought, okay. Yes.
Now you know what the cog is, right?
No, that I don't.
It's the teeth of a gear.
Oh, okay.
That's what the I can't. It's a little part that sticks out on a gear, the cogs.
Okay. Learn something new.
Oh.
All right, so kind of give you an idea where we're at. We've basically done a big circle around Newberry right now. So when we left the house, we kind of went one direction to take Andrew to work. And now we've rode through the Walmart and come out on the other side of the Walmart. And we're just literally almost making a big circle. So where we're
early, sorry, we're at the business section. Now we're what you call the bypass. If you want to go around Newberry with avoid all the business, this is what the bypass would be.
And in just a minute, we're getting ready to go over some railroad tracks. And we still have people that have Christmas lights out. I love it. And this railroad track, it goes way up and then it drops. So if you're not aware of it and you're just going the speed limit, your vehicle will leave the ground. And trust me, when we first moved to Newberry, there we go. We just went over them. I had a minivan And the boys literally went, wee! And I went, well, we won't say what I said. It scared me half to death.
Jehoshaphat.
Jiminy crickets. We're in the air.
I'm gonna take them down Main Street.
So that's what I was starting to tell you guys is so we're coming this full circle and we're actually coming back into downtown Newberry now, which is where in the test ride I took you. And oh wow, you should go over there and let me show them that pretty church with that big steeple.
Right.
And then you can cut on that street over to Main Street. So I don't know if you can see this or not. Well, you can drive over to it.
Okay.
There's a big street light that's really bright.
I was gonna say back so I can get a better view of it. I'm gonna cut through the. I'll find darker that way. Get some of the lights off the vehicle.
Okay, I don't think you can cut through here, honey. There's a big fence right there. But they're familiar with that parking lot because that's the library that I had to pull over and restart the live. Because when I went to show them the clock tower on the Opera House, I cut the live off. All right, so let me see. Just go slow a minute. All right, you can kind of see that.
It's a Gothic looking cathedral.
Yeah, it's a very Gothic cathedral, and it is beautiful. Here, can we roll down the window? Hang on, we can't both do it. I'm going to try to stick you out the window. Oh, there you go. You can see that a little bit better. If you can go all the way up to the stop sign. We've got some really pretty architecture here. Okay. Mr. Joyful drives a little crazy, y'all.
I'm not used to you.
He's not used to my brakes. My brakes are very sensitive. But isn't that a beautiful church? Oh, yeah, Keith. Dexter's Laboratory.
Yeah, Dexter.
Connie says Jericho would touch her earring and say, it's showtime, Synergy. Then she'd turn into Jim. All right.
I love watching Dexter's Laboratory.
Renee says sugar honey iced tea. So, oh yes, that's what I was trying to think of a minute ago, Sonja. She says Speed Buggy was fun to watch.
Oh yeah.
Not sure I remember that one, Connie.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go back up. Yes, Keith, Speed Buggy.
Yes.
Connie says, remember Jim and the holograms?
Yeah.
Right, V? She says, I love the Jetson was my favorite cartoon.
Yeah.
So
I used to watch Jetson. It was a Flintstone.
We're on Main Street right now.
Flintstone almost got sued.
Who almost got sued?
The kind of when they made the Flintstones, they almost got sued for copyright infringements because it was a direct copy off the Honeymooners.
Hey, that store back there was new, and they had a bunch of guitars in the window.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if they would be interested in buying my Keith Urban guitar.
They may.
I bought a Keith Urban guitar. I had a guitar when I was back as a missionary. Somebody had actually bought one for me from a Goodwill, and it didn't play very well, and it was hard to keep it in tune. So I bought another one to try and learn to play, and I started doing pretty good. And then I got married and started having kids and put it aside, and never really picked it back up. So I think I gave it to my middle son, my Marine, and then
I think he overtuned it or something like that.
Yeah, he overtuned it accidentally. But anyway, so we sold it for parts. But a couple years before my spine surgery and all that journey, we're not going to go through that. Oh, we're passing the bar.
I love this old car. It's very.
I don't know if they can see it.
Ooh, that is gorgeous.
It is an old car. There's been a lot of old cars around lately, like the classics.
Gorgeous.
But anyway,
pretty baby.
I bought a Keith Urban guitar and said I was going to learn again. Well, then I got you know, my situation and having to learn to walk again and all that and blah, blah, blah. And just picked up more about my yarn. And now, if I have free time, it's all about yarn. So, who's got time now to learn how to play that guitar? And as much as I would love to learn how to play that guitar, I'd rather find someone who can get better use out of it and honor the guitar and Keith Urban. And the only reason I got the Keith Urban guitar, to be honest, is because it came with everything you needed to learn how to play the guitar. So you could teach yourself. So now we're coming, can't really see the cars in the way. Got so many pretty houses on Main Street. So, you know, we're in the deep South. So we have a lot of houses that have a lot of those southern columns, you know, on the front porches. And a lot of the front porches wrap around the house. So I really want to come do this during the day so you can just see some of the architecture here. And then a lot of the houses here on Main Street too, they have, like, on the second floor, they have an additional balcony up there, just like you would see in, you know, a movie with the southern plantations and stuff.
That's Summer's house right there.
So, but and I do love the plantation homes, but I am so glad that I was not a part of that era because I did not agree with our southern roots. And so I try to keep everything.
Plus, it's just too big a house to keep up anyway. It's just large.
Well, that's not what I'm talking
I
about.
know it's not. I'm just trying to change the subject. But
I love everybody. So,
yeah, I would say it's too big and just.
oh no, a big plantation home. That's got a lot of nooks and crannies for housing yarn. Just saying. Right, V, you still here? Just saying.
Who would have that much yarn?
I'm not commenting. Y'all, I have to tell y'all something that happened in the very first Hobby Lobby, but I'm going to read the chat first. Connie says, Jericho would touch her. Oh, I think I read that.
Yeah.
All right. Renee said that was a beautiful church. Connie says, a kid, I used to want to spin around and turn into Wonder Woman. Yes. Tiffany says, if any of you have HBO Max, almost every show that has been mentioned. Oh, hang on, the chat jumped. Has been mentioned is on there. Oh, wow. Tina said the church was pretty. Hello, sweet Doris. Welcome in. We're just doing a little joyride. Oh, yeah, Speed Racer. Keith said Speed Racer.
Yes.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, I love Saturday morning cartoons. And then when 12 o'clock noon hit, and what was it, American Bandstand came on, it was time to go outside and play.
What was the cartoon that was almost a copy of the Scooby-Doo show, but the dog was like a gray color, and they rode around like a little sand buggy, dune buggy. Can't remember that one. I remember it, but I don't remember the name of it.
Johnny Quest?
No, that's not it.
I love Johnny Quest. Does anybody remember Johnny Quest? Oh my gosh, I was a big Johnny Quest fan.
Johnny Quest won a lot of awards. That's a good show.
Sonja says, so we were going to my stepson's wedding, and my hubby was speeding up to go over the bumps, and he realized too late we were going too fast and could not slow down. Oh no.
There's a place out in Lexington. I used to have old 63 Fairlane, and if you catch the hill just right, the Fairlane would come off the ground.
Good night, Candy.
I don't have it out there.
Tina says, never too big. Thank you guys for hugging Candy out. Jen says she does. I love Johnny Quest. So I started to tell you today we were in. He's trying to show us something.
I'm at see. It's kind of dark back there, but you see there's a ramp. I'm not sure why they have it back there, but it's like something you see in a video game. I saw it the other day. It's just a ramp in the middle of the backyard.
Yeah, they can't see it because I can barely see it. So we're back out on Wilson Road, which is at the other end of Main Street. And we're back in the business section. So like we're coming up on like Captain D's and Arby's, Sonic, the Wild Wings place, or Wings and Deli.
Or Arby's.
Excuse me. Hardee's is over here. Firehouse Subs, Subway, Food Lion, grocery stores, the Goodwill, the Big Lots. Anyway, today we're in the first Hobby Lobby, and as soon as we've never been in this one before. We didn't even know the Hobby Lobby existed. So we don't know which side of the store the yarn is on because, in some Hobby Lobbies it's on one side and other stores is on the other side. That's usually always in the back. Of course, rumor has it they're moving everything to the front yarn-wise. But anyway, so of course, where we go first is not where it's at. So we're circling around the store trying to find the yarn. And Todd is behind me going, this Hobby Lobby just doesn't have yarn. There's no yarn. Let's go. And he just kept repeating stuff like over and over. And he was driving me crazy. I've never said this to him, but I finally was like, shut up. And I so loud. And no, he did not cry.
The whole store turned dark.
But I did have to apologize to him because I've never talked harshly like that to him, but he was just driving me crazy, y'all. They did have yarn.
They did have yarn. There was nobody yarn split up two spots.
They did yarn. And they were waiting to be adopted. And so I adopted them. But I did. I felt really bad for telling him to shut up. I've never said it because shut up was a bad word in my house growing up, and it was a bad word in our house for our kids growing up. But he just kept picking on me and picking on me. And
She yelled the S word at me.
I did. I yelled the S word. Okay, I'm going back up in the chat. Sorry, you guys. Renee says, yes, I remember Johnny Quest. Tiffany says, I remember Johnny Quest, but never watched it. I don't know why, but I just love that show. I think it was about always the solving things. I've always been one about solving. Like I love puzzles. I love, trivia things.
It's not a cartoon show. I used to love watching Columbo.
Yeah, Columbo's not cartoon, but he loves Columbo.
I just went back and started watching some old episodes. The way they did it was funny.
Oh, what about Lost? Did anyone ever watch Lost? Not the show that came out like in whatever, the 80s or the 90s, but the Saturday morning Lost. It had like the
70s with the
yeah,
caveman looking people.
yeah, the caveman looking people. They were furry and had aliens on there. Connie, I'm sure you watch Lost because you love aliens.
What was that?
Oh yes, Renee, the Archies.
Yeah. And the
He says wacky racers, Muttley.
the Herculoids. This is really old. Herculoids.
Oh wow, the Herculoids. Yay, Margie watched Johnny Quest. Excuse me, y'all. Hello, Christy. She says, hello. Where are we going? We're just riding around Newberry, basically in the dark. You can go down to the airport. I took them the other night, but you can do that. So we have this small little private airport. It's not commercialized. They wanted to, but as I shared the other night, in order to make it commercialized, Kraft would have to sell some of its land, and they were not willing to do that. So they couldn't do that.
face.
Hello, Regina. Sandra said same with her mom and dad. Shut up was a very bad word in our house too, in her house too. Regina says, I watched it. The Slee Stacks. Hello, me Jane.
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
Yep, that's right. Yep. Sandra says, sure did watch. Oh, Land of the Lost. That's right. That's what it was called. Land of the Lost. You're right.
That's cool.
Thank you guys for welcoming Christy in. I had thought of another one and now I can't remember. Wow, that just brings back so many good childhood memories.
Of course, you had to watch.
Those were the good days when cartoons really were great.
Push the envelope. I say, son, your lights are on, but no one's home, son. I say, you get you swinging, you're missing, son. I say, son.
Who is that?
Foghorn Leghorn.
Oh, Foghorn Leghorn.
Bugs Bunny.
Yeah. And Roadrunner. Beep beep.
Beep, beep, beep.
You got a little bit further with that sign. See where it says to go left. So Newberry, I mean, it's fairly big, but it's small enough that literally within 5 to 10 minutes you can go from like downtown to the business section to you could end up in the rural section. So, which is kind of where we are. We're kind of heading into the rural now. We're on the backside of Kraft, and in a minute we're going to come up on the airport, which you might be able to see it a little bit better since I'm not driving. When I was driving, it was hard to show it to you. I think I just had to kind of explain it to you. But they should, well, I was going to say they usually have lights on and you can't really see it, but they've got the blue lights on for the runway. But that might bring a whirring sound to the video, honey. He rolled the window down. You can kind of see some little blue lights there. So the runway is all lit up with blue lights, but they're not showing up very well.
Is this the airport that was it? My mind just went blank. As I'll say, Willie Nelson and Musley, the Opera House.
Yep. So our Opera House, we get a lot. You can go down one more. So our Opera House here, we get a lot of famous people come in and out. And who was that one singer that I got my picture with? Well, I got my picture with a lot of people when I worked at the Hampton Inn, but because I was director of sales at the Hampton Inn for 10 years. But so I got to meet a lot of famous people, like Loretta Lynn. I got to meet her. I got to meet Crystal Gale. I got to meet Snoop Dogg.
Not Snoop Dogg. So what's the guy?
Now I met Snoop Dogg, but I also, the one I got my picture taken with, he always wears like the clock necklace. There's more at the airport. I don't know if y'all can really see it. Flavor Flav.
Flavor Flav, yeah.
But anyway, so we had a lot of famous people that would come in and out of the Opera House. Willie Nelson was always our favorite. So his band would always drive in the night before the show. And oh my gosh, those tickets were crazy. So every now and then, as director of sales, they would give me complimentary tickets. And it just depended on the show. And so some of the bigger popular people I never got to see because those tickets would sell out fast, even if they were like, $300, $400, $500 a ticket, which that is just insane. No offense, love people, yes, turn here, but that's a lot of money. And so anyway,
We should get a big name with a small venue.
Yeah. So Willie Nelson's band would always drive in the night before, and they'd check into the Hampton Inn. And then, of course, the next day they'd go over and set up the stage and all of that stuff and do sound checks and whatnot. And literally, like just maybe an hour or so before the show, Willie Nelson would fly into this private airport with his own private plane. And then when the concert was over, his band would come back and spend the night at the hotel, and then leave the next morning to get on the road to get, to drive to the next venue. But Willie Nelson would always fly back out that same night because they say that he would only sleep in his own penthouse. And so I don't know how true that is, but that's what the band would say.
Tell them when Andrew got that job there with Don Williams.
Oh my gosh. So my youngest son, the one we just took to work, I got him a job working at the Opera House, and he was working backstage. And so he would help anybody that came in and needed help setting their, the stage up, whether it was for a concert or, props for theatrical plays or whatever. That was his job, was to help set up backstage. Well, Don Williams comes in to sing. He's in town, and it's his concert. And so when they were setting up, it was right before the show started. And so Don Williams and his band were all in the dressing rooms and whatnot. So my son, he has to wait around during the concert. So after the concert, he can help them break down. And so everybody was finding a place to sit. And it's not like there was like a lot of places. So a lot of times the backhand crew would just sit on the floor. So he said there was a couple stools and stuff, and then a chair, like a director's chair. So he thought that he would, allow everyone else to have the better seats. And there was a wheelchair. And so he's like, I'll just sit in the wheelchair. Well, it turns out that it was actually Don Williams' wheelchair. And so, anyway, so Don Williams had to come and ask my son if he could have his wheelchair.
He was real cool about it.
He was really cool about it. So, but yeah.
Back on Main Street.
But oh my gosh, yeah, I got to meet a lot of famous people. It was a lot of fun. And it's really cool because some of them, I mean, the majority of them, they're very down to earth. And I'll tell you one of the most fun characters to meet. So when I was born, my name was Cynthia Lee Williams, and my family all called me Cindy. So Cindy Williams. And then later, I was adopted and given my adoptive father's name. But anyway, so when I was born, I was Cindy Williams. The actual Cindy Williams from Laverne and Shirley came. And it was so funny because, I stayed late that night waiting for her to arrive because the Opera House, some of the requests that they would have us do for some of these famous people when they came in, like when Reba McEntire came in, I can't remember, they had us have like a certain flower or something in her room or whatever. But with Cindy Williams, it was like really specific, like the pillows couldn't have feathers in them. And I don't remember all the details that I had to do for her room. But anyway, so I was waiting for her to arrive because there were so many allergies she had or something that she was allergic to. So I wanted to make sure that the room was 100%, satisfactory for her. And I didn't want to put that on, the front desk to have to deal with. I wanted to stay and make sure that, that she was completely happy and satisfied and could settle in for the night. So we're waiting for her to come in, and usually they'll have like, someone who comes in and checks her in, and then they'll bring them in the back door. And usually I'll go and let them in the back door, and I usually get introduced to like their bodyguards and stuff like that or whatnot. Cindy Williams, she comes bebopping in the front door. Now she's dressed down, and she's got this big hat on, like the big red hats that, the ladies wear in the Red Hat Society. And I mean, she is just casually dressed. And if you didn't know who she was or had a clue what she looked like, you'd have just thought she was just a normal guest coming in. But she was so funny and so down to earth, and she hung out in the lobby with us, and that was the thing I loved too. There was a lot of, like, Alabama, when Alabama would come after the concert, they'd all come over in the lobby and they would almost put on a little mini concert, and we just had a lot of fun. So it was really cool. A lot of them were very down to earth and very, very kind. Only a handful of them, and I won't say who they are because I don't.
It's all joy.
Yeah, it's all about joy and not drama. But there was just a handful of them that would come in, and they were always demanding, and you could never please them. And they acted like they were better than everybody, and didn't matter if you were checking someone in. They've arrived. You need to give them the red carpet. But there was less of those. Like I said, more of them were very down to earth, but it was really fun. That was one of my favorite parts of the job. But anyway, now that I've run my mouth and I haven't been watching the chat.
Everybody was talking.
Oh, yes, Keith. I forgot about that one. Do you remember Jabberjaw?
Oh,
the shark? Yeah.
I used to love.
Oh, yeah, Bullwinkle, Sanja. Hey,
Yes.
Rocky, want to see me pull a rabbit out of my hat? That's our yard, by the way. We're sitting on the road.
What's that one with the genie? Oh, yabble dabble. Exit stage left even. That was not. That's what's the Panther. Exit stage left even. And yabble dabble.
Steve.
Tom and Jerry.
Tom and Jerry. Yes. Now, I would watch Tom and Jerry throughout the week after school.
Still watch.
I still watch Tom and Jerry. In fact, I own the Tom and Jerry movies. I love Tom and Jerry.
And of course,
Hey, Jane.
like I said, we say Alvin and Chipmunks, and what's the other one? Chip and Dale. Yeah.
Chip and Dale. Oh, yeah, the Rescue Rangers.
Yeah. Rescue Rangers. Not Chip.
Jane says, "Where are we going? To Hobby Lobby?" No, we did that all day. Oh, yes, Regina. Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids. Love that. Yes, yes. Tina says, "I still hear it, or are you ever quiet?" No. Okay. Now let me go back down. All right, Keith, I'm trying to figure out what you've got. The Perils of, is it Penelope Pit Stop? I'm not sure about that one. Sandra says, "Yes, Keith, my girls love that in reruns." So, Jen, you asked, what is our population? I am not 100% sure what it is now because we've had some growth. But when I was working at the hotel, and let's see, I've been with Robbie with the financial office now a year and a half. I was out of work for 2 years learning to walk. So that's 3.5. I worked at the ER for 3. So 6.5 years ago. Now, before I tell you the number, it's going to sound big, but you got to understand this number I'm going to give you, it includes all of our city and our surrounding rural area of Newberry County, which includes like a couple other towns. It includes like Prosperity, Little Mountain, Palmaria, Whitmire, Jenkinsville.
And Whitmire actually has
Clinton,
a world record. It's like the or the national record. It's like the town with nothing else around it in the furthest distance. Like it's out. It's so isolated. There's no other town around it. The biggest distance, something like that.
I don't know if you can hear him. Sometimes when he talks,
I'm sorry.
It mumbles.
I was just saying, Whitmire has an award or a record for being the most isolated town. Except that there's nothing else around it, so far out by itself. Or it did at one time. I'm not sure if it still has it.
I'm bringing y'all back around to us. There we go.
Yeah.
So we have about, oh, wow. I don't mean to cover it up with my finger. There we go. So we have about 18,000 people. That's what it was 6.5 years ago. And so that sounds like a lot of people, but Newberry County in itself, like I said, it's big. We've got a lot of surrounding towns that make up the county. But in the heart of Newberry, back then, would probably have been close to about maybe 11,000, I think.
Yeah.
But we've had a lot of growth. So
some big factories and big names.
Yeah, we've had some big factories come in. Kisswire, Kraft. Well, Kraft has been here for a long time. Samsung came in. What's that other?
Kisswire has 2 factories.
Yeah, Kisswire has 2 factories here.
Yeah, Pioneer Cookie, which makes like a Walmart, not Walmart, but McDonald's bakery stuff. Then you got a couple of paper mills.
What's that big car plant that came in down there by Georgia Pacific where you work?
Is it BMW?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes, there's a BMW plant that came in. So all this is in our little town of Newberry. So we've had a lot of growth. And the problem is that Newberry didn't really have enough like living space to house these people coming in. So it was pushing them into Chapin, which is going into the next county. And Chapin is about 25 to 30 minutes away from here, which is where my parents live. But, oh, sorry,
Yeah.
Todd's not talking. So I hope that kind of answers that. Sonja says, "Hey, Rocky." Oh, I said that. Want to see me pull a rabbit out of my hat? Jabberjaw. Oh, yes. Sonja says, "Oh, I love Don Williams. Smooth voice. Wish he had lived longer." Right?
Yes, I love his music.
Yes.
I sing his music a lot.
Hey, Crystal.
Superman and Robin Hood are still alive in Hollywood. East and east and west, and you're the one that I love best. And I believe in you. That's right, yeah. Sorry.
Sonja says, "I can still hear the soft southern wind and the live oak trees. Those William boys still mean a lot to me." Hank in Tennessee. Yes, yes. Hello, oodles and caboodles. Thank you guys for loving each other in. Oh, wow. Boy, Keith is digging them out. I love it, Keith. Do you remember Snagglepuss?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Push.
Yes. Regina says, "I had chores to do on Saturday, so I didn't get to watch the cartoons like most kids did." We had chores too.
I remember getting up so early and watching cartoons. And as soon as you heard this, you knew cartoons were over. It's what's that song? I can't getting old. I'm getting my mind gone. Soul Train. As soon as Soul Train comes in, cartoons are done. It's time to go out and play.
Yeah. But we did chores and then we went out and played.
Yeah.
And then you're right, it was Soul Train. I said it was American Bandstand, but it was Soul Train.
Well, later on it was American Bandstand, I think, with Casey Kasem, American Bandstand.
So, what was the guy's name again that played Danny in Grease? John Travolta.
Yeah.
Which one was he on?
I don't know.
There was one of those dance shows that he was on.
I can't remember.
Anyway,
Yeah. I know Casey Kasem did the bandstand because for a long time we thought Casey Kasem was immortal. He never aged.
Jen says hers is 7,000. So yes, it does sound a little big. Margie says, according to Google, the 2020 census shows the population of Newberry is 10,691.
Hmm.
All right. So that's just the heart of Newberry.
Wow.
See, Margie, see if it'll tell you what Newberry County is.
Hmm.
Good night, Keith. He says, I'm going to wish you all a good night. It's 10 to 12, and I have church in the morning.
Yeah.
Regina says, because I believe in love.
I believe that Superman and Robin Hood are still alive in Hollywood. The East is East and the West is West, and you're the one that I love best. And I believe in love. I can't remember the rest of it. I mean, it's.
Good night, Christy. Thank you for riding with us. We're actually about to wrap up too. I know, Renee, right? Rest in peace, Cindy Williams. Yes. And Penny Marshall. Regina says, who watched the Angry Beavers?
I don't see that one.
I'm not familiar with that one either, but you know what I do remember is Yogi Bear.
Oh yeah, Yogi Bear is smarter than the average bear. Oh, woo woo. I won't give me a bit of pissing back dashes. I'm about to start stammering now, yeah. The picnic.
Hey, Yogi, let's go get us a picnic basket.
Yogi Bear is smarter than the average.
Oh, yes, Renee, the Jackson 5.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
Regina says Grease. Yes, love Grease. Oh, yes, Renee. How can we forget this, Todd? We talk about this a lot, you and I. Schoolhouse Rock.
Oh, yes.
I'm just a bill up on the
hill.
Yeah. How about in school? Do y'all remember that show? What was it? We are good sandlappers. Yes, we're good sandlappers, and we're mighty proud to say, yes, we. I can't remember. Oh well. I also watched Little House on the Prairie a lot.
Also, this is old, this is young, but the Electric Company. And,
Oh yes, the Electric Company.
yeah, Electric Company and Sesame Street and Mr. Rogers, and down here we had Captain Kangaroo.
Renee says like Dick Clark. Yes. And Sandra says Casey Kasem did radio. Yes, I remember Casey Kasem.
That's right. Yeah, Dick Clark.
And
yeah.
Dick Clark was American Bandstand.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Regina's still singing Don Williams. I believe in babies. I don't have the tune right.
Yeah.
Good night, Tina. Sandra says this has been so much fun. God bless you both. Oh, yes, Regina, the Waltons, which is a perfect way to end our wonderful Joyride. It is really dark now.
Good night, John Boy.
Good night, Grandpa. Good night, John Boy. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Renee says, Wonder Rama Bozo the Clown. Oh my gosh, yes. Okay, there we go. Thank you, Margie. She says Newberry County in 2020 census was 37,719. So we have definitely grown from that 18,000. Oodles and Caboodle says, I grew up listening to the Williams, Johnny Cash. Oh, wow. Y'all should hear Todd sing Johnny Cash and all of those country songs. It wasn't until I was 12, hang on, the chat jumped, that I was allowed to listen to rock. Sandra says, loved and still watch the Waltons. Yes, I love those good old clean shows. And oh, Bonanza. That's not a cartoon, but oh my gosh. I did love Bonanza. I love Westerns. That's one of the things I love about Todd's grandmother. She loves Westerns. And whenever we would go spend time with her, that's all we would do is watch Westerns. And that's what we're going to do next weekend is watch Westerns with her.
I believe.
Sandra says, good night, joyful family. Good night. All right.
I don't believe in superstars, organic food, and foreign cars. I don't believe the price of gold, the certainties of growing old. That right is right and left is wrong. The north and south can't get along. The east is east and west is west. And being first is always best. But I believe in love. I believe in baby. Oh, I lost the tune. Baby.
So do us a Johnny Cash real quick, and then we'll say goodnight.
Hear the train a comin', it's rollin' round the bend. And I ain't seen the sunshine since I don't know when. I'm stuck in Folsom Prison, and time keeps dragging on.
Oh, well, I guess that's it. He's getting out the
Yeah,
car.
time's dragging on. I'm going home.
All right. Good night, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on a joyride. Hope you had fun. I promise the next one in April, we will do it in the daytime so we can actually physically show you things and you can actually see them. But enjoy the company, enjoy the step back in time with childhood cartoons. And if you are not familiar with who Hong Kong Fooey is, Google Hong Kong Fooey. All right. I love you guys. Good night. Be joyful. Bye.